Hello there, this is Vi. Today I'm checking out Project Contender. This is a game I've not played before. We're going to give it a playtest and see if we can give some useful feedback. Got the game page open here. It says a crappy Doom clone prototype made in Godot using the plugin Godot? It's Godot with a Q. I don't know how that's meant to be pronounced, but to import maps made in Trenchbroom. Also uses assets from Mrs. Doom clone tutorial. I'm sorry for that unusual word. That is my assumption of how that is pronounced. Feedback is wanted but optional, and I hope I can convey what I would like to do for this game somewhat. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this. As you can see, it kind of just loads into what you're seeing on the screen here. I've not seen anything past this. It looks as though, alright, I'm in the game here now. The enemies just kind of come straight at you from the start here. Kind of an interesting, I don't know, posterized art style, it looks like. Obviously it looks very early. This is in windowed mode. I wonder, can I alt-enter in here? That's some bullet shooting. I don't think I can reload, I guess. So I don't see a way to make it full screen, so it might look slightly blurry, being blown up to 1080p. On my screen, it's like a borderless window, but it's not the full screen borderless window. So it's interesting. Anyways, it looks nice and sharp on my screen, but I guess we can move around. Doesn't look like we can jump, doesn't look like we can crouch. Shift doesn't appear to do anything. Move speed is kind of slow. Looks like there's not really any inertia. Doesn't necessarily need to be. Of course, the games like Doom tend to have actually quite a bit of inertia, but I kind of like the no inertia. I think it's nice and responsive, but the movement is pretty slow. But I guess, oh, okay. The first time I click on a guy, it looked like it dropped a bunch of frames. Not really sure what that was about. Looks like this corpse thing kind of floats in the air there a bit. Also, yeah, it looks like all their feet aren't actually touching the ground here, so that's interesting. But I would like to. I mean, I would prefer to play this in exclusive full screen mode. I could get the VSync turned off also. That would be great, so we get less input lag, particularly for first-person games. It makes a big difference. I guess if you're using Windows 10, it's slightly different versus using Windows 7. For some reason, I don't really understand that entirely, but I use Windows 7 anyways, and yeah, the input lag is noticeable, but I guess the gameplay is not like particularly twitchy, I guess is how you would describe it, so maybe it'll be alright. But definitely not ideal. But yeah, you can also get some frame instability, with this just being like a window floating here that you wouldn't get otherwise in exclusive full screen mode. I don't know if this is just all that there is so far, in which case it might be nice if there's just a button. Oop. I hit something that I guess closed the program. Godot always crashes every single time I've ever played a Godot game. When you close the game, it throws up the window. It says the game.exe has stopped working, in Windows, so it's kind of silly. But I guess I hit a button that was to close the game. I don't know what it was, like delete or something. Might have been escape. I'll try running it again. I'm curious. Alright, it doesn't look like you need to be that accurate with the aiming, so that's interesting. Of course, like in the original Doom, you didn't really have like a crosshair like this. You just kind of move left and right, and just tried to kind of roughly line up the things in the center of the screen. So I think it's nice to have that kind of forgiveness. Generally speaking, just makes it so it's less about being like hyper accurate and more about you can kind of focus on other things, make the game a bit twitchier, or you can kind of zoom around and with like a lot of movement speed and stuff like that. I think that's nice. But yeah, as it is right now, I guess this is all of the games so far. So yeah, I would just like to see. Well, I think it'd be nice if you could maybe hold shift to run a bit. Maybe you could experiment with a little bit of inertia. I don't. The speed that it's at right now, it definitely feels a bit slow. I think if you sped it up significantly, it's going to feel better, just because the player won't feel like they're kind of walking around in molasses. Can feel more exciting. But I think once you start getting that higher speed, it might feel a little better in this genre to have a bit of inertia rather than just kind of instantly stopping and starting. Maybe, but depends on what you're going for. I like this art and this sort of animation. It's really simple, but it's kind of crispy and effective. And it actually feels quite good, even though it's like there's almost there's very little even implemented in the game, but it already something about this art just kind of feels right to me. So I can appreciate that. Of course, I'd just like to see more game, but I guess there's not much to give in terms of feedback. Personally, I like being able to crouch if I hold control. I like being able to jump if I hit space. And I like to reload. I don't remember if Doom specifically has any reloading. I know some of these older games don't really feature reloading, but it's one of my favorite things in first-person shooters is to kind of break up the pacing, to hit the R button and reload your gun, and I find that very satisfying. But yeah, so not much to talk about, but I think, the absolute bare minimum that is here, it feels good already, so hopefully that's in some way useful to you. If you get more stuff implemented, I'd be happy to playtest it again at some point in the future and perhaps give you a bit more in terms of feedback. But this is a good start for something. And I'll go ahead and wrap this up, so let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.